We all know that feeling, right? That little buzz of satisfaction, maybe after finishing something tough or that bigger rush when you, I don't know, win
Yeah,
something.
that's dopamine. It's our brain's reward system kicking in, pushing us towards things.
Exactly. But what's really fascinating and what we're diving into today based on our source material is how we get that feeling. It's not all the same.
That's right. The sources really lay out two pretty distinct paths. You've got what they call quick fix dopamine, that instant gratification, and then there's natural dopamine, which is, well, different, more sustained.
So our mission today really is to unpack those two paths. We want you, listening, to think about which one might be more dominant in your life right now.
Because figuring that out, understanding that difference is key. It's kind of a shortcut, actually, to better focus, maybe more lasting well-being instead of just chasing the next high.
Okay, so let's start with the first one, the quick fix. It sounds appealing, right? Quick.
Oh, absolutely. It's designed to be appealing. That's the whole point.
The sources describe it as that really intense, immediate hit of pleasure. You get this big spike.
But then there's the crash. It often leaves you feeling, kind of drained, maybe a bit anxious, always needing more, like a sugar rush, and then the inevitable slump.
Yeah, the neurological sugar crash. That's a good way to put it.
And the research is pretty clear on why these things are so effective. They tap into reward mechanisms that are just, frankly, much stronger than, say, the quiet satisfaction of finishing a report for work.
Stronger how? Like, what kind of things are we talking about here?
Well, think about high stimulation activities. The sources mention energy drinks, getting lost in video games for hours.
Right, things that give you an immediate jolt.
Exactly. And often the mechanism behind things like gaming or even gambling is something called variable reinforcement.
Variable reinforcement. Okay, break that down. What does that mean in practice?
It means the reward isn't predictable. You don't get the prize every single time you pull the lever or click the button or whatever.
Got it. Okay, so you never know when the win is coming.
Precisely. And that uncertainty, it actually triggers a huge dopamine release. Your brain goes into this state of intense anticipation. It's much more powerful, neurologically speaking, than a reward you know is coming.
Wow, so it's the not knowing the chase itself that gets you hooked?
That's a big part of it, yeah.
And the sources connect this to other quick fixes too, right?
Yeah.
Like information overload, gossip, drama, doom scrolling the news.
Oh, definitely. Doom scrolling is a classic example. It feels like you're doing something important, staying informed.
But you're really just hunting for the next little hit.
Exactly. Every new alert, every shocking headline, every bit of gossip, it gives you this tiny fleeting feeling of being in the know, or sometimes even a bit of social comparison. It triggers that quick dopamine release, and it's always available 24/7.
And then there's the impulse stuff, online shopping,
Ah!
that add to cart thrill.
Yes. The sources point out the brain treats that click almost like placing a bet. It's the potential, the anticipation of getting the item that delivers the big dopamine hit.
Often followed by buyer's remorse later, when the buzz wears off.
Very often. Same goes for gambling, betting apps, the high stakes, the excitement. It's all about that immediate, intense rush.
And we can't forget screen time. That seems like the biggest category for many people.
It's huge. Binge watching shows, just one more episode, even when you're exhausted.
It's sacrificing sleep for it.
Right. Or just being constantly tethered to your phone, waiting for that next notification, that email ping. Each little alert is a micro hit of dopamine. It trains your brain to constantly seek external validation, external stimulus.
Instead of finding focus internally.
Exactly. Even things like endless swiping on dating apps fall into this. Fleeting connection, constant novelty, variable reward, or even risky physical thrills without any real balance or skill building involved. Just chasing the adrenaline.
Okay, so if someone's life is really dominated by these quick fixes, this constant cycle of big rush, then quick crash. What's the actual impact? What's it doing to us, like physiologically?
Well, the term the sources use, and it sounds a bit technical, but it's important, is nervous system dysregulation.
Okay, nervous system dysregulation. What does that actually feel like for someone day to day? Is it just being stressed all the time?
That's a really good question. It's related to stress, but it's different. Chronic stress might be tied to a specific pressure, like a deadline. Dysregulation is more like internal chaos. It's your body's baseline being thrown off by these constant artificial spikes and crashes.
So what would that feel like?
It feels like being on edge, jittery. You might have more anxiety, find it hard to sleep properly, even if you feel tired, struggle to focus on anything that requires sustained mental effort.
Like reading a book, maybe.
Exactly. Or working on a complex problem. You might feel more irritable, just generally off kilter. Your fight or flight system is basically stuck in the on position because it's constantly being triggered by these intense, unnatural dopamine hits.
It sounds exhausting, like being on a nonstop roller coaster.
That's a perfect analogy. It is exhausting. And it's a fleeting high. It's not real, sustainable well-being.
Which I guess brings us perfectly to the other path, the natural dopamine.
Right. The antidote, if you will.
This is the kind that, according to the sources, actually builds you up. It leads to more sustained happiness, and it's inherently good for your mind and body. It's the foundation, not the flash flood.
And what's really striking is how sort of simple and fundamental these natural sources are. They're not flashy, but they work deeply. They're slow burn activities leading to intrinsic rewards.
Okay, so what are we talking about? What are these building blocks?
Well, the first category is absolutely crucial: rest and physicality.
Okay, like sleep. The sources mention quality sleep. That sounds almost too basic. We all know sleep is good for us.
We know it intellectually, yeah, but it's
Yeah.
amazing how often it gets sacrificed for one more scroll, right? But sleep is foundational for dopamine because it allows your receptors to recover. Quick fixes tend to deplete your dopamine stores and kind of overwhelm the receptors. Good sleep lets your system reset, resensitize.
So you can actually feel and appreciate the smaller, more natural rewards later.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
restorative. Then, of course, there's movement and exercise. That's the classic natural mood booster.
Gets the endorphins going, but also dopamine.
Yes, sustained physical activity definitely impacts dopamine pathways positively. And also just getting sunlight, natural light exposure. It's fundamental for regulating mood, our circadian rhythms, our energy levels.
Okay, so rest, movement, sunlight, what else?
The next big area is creativity and connection.
Okay, so things like,
Playing music, dancing, painting, writing, any kind of creative expression where the satisfaction comes from the process, not just some external reward.
I like that distinction, and connection.
Deep social connection, real conversations, shared experiences, genuine laughter. This isn't the fleeting hit of a like online. It's the release of feel-good hormones, including dopamine and oxytocin, that comes from real belonging, real interaction.
That feels fundamentally different, doesn't it?
It really does. And then there's a category I think is particularly powerful: growth and reflection.
Growth and reflection. So this is
Yes.
about,
This is about the satisfaction you get from, say, learning a new skill, mastering a craft, maybe learning an instrument or the language, or getting good at coding or gardening.
the slow, sometimes frustrating process of getting better at something.
Exactly. That feeling of accomplishment when you finally nail that difficult piece of music or understand a complex concept that releases dopamine tied to genuine competence, to real earned achievement.
It's earned, not just triggered.
Precisely. This category also includes things like reflective practices, journaling, maybe meditation, processing your thoughts and feelings, and simply spending quiet time in nature.
Yeah, that connection to nature seems to come up a lot as a natural regulator.
It does. And finally, the sources even link our mindset to dopamine. Things like acts of kindness, practicing gratitude, using affirmations.
Wait, how does just thinking positively or being kind trigger a physical reward like dopamine?
Well, dopamine is also tied to motivation, to seeking rewards. When you consciously focus on gratitude, you're essentially training your brain to notice and seek out the positive. You start to anticipate positive interactions, positive outcomes.
So you're reinforcing positive loops instead of negative ones?
You got it. You're actively building internal optimism, which feels rewarding.
Okay, so if we compare these natural sources, sleep, movement, creativity, connection, growth, gratitude, to the quick fixes, the impact seems completely different.
Night and day. These natural activities lead to more balanced energy, a calmer nervous system.
It's not that roller coaster feeling.
Not at all. And the long-term effects are profound. Improved focus, much more sustainable motivation, and a deeper sense of joy. It's a feeling that lasts rather than vanishing in minutes. You're building a foundation.
Building internal resilience, maybe.
That's a great way to put it. And the feeling itself is different. It's not that frantic, buzzy high. It's more like a quiet hum of satisfaction.
Yeah.
A feeling that things are working well because you put in the effort.
Right. You earned it. You didn't just, click for it.
Exactly.
So this really brings us to the crux of it for everyone listening. It's time for a bit of a check-in, maybe.
Yeah, a self-reflection moment.
Ask yourself, where are you getting your dopamine hits from mostly? Are you relying more on those quick fix spikes, or are you actively making space for these more natural, foundational sources of energy and mood?
And it's crucial to add here, the goal isn't necessarily to eliminate all quick fixes from your life.
Right, that sounds pretty unrealistic. We all enjoy a treat sometimes or a bit of easy entertainment.
Exactly. The sources aren't advocating for becoming a monk. It's about understanding the mechanisms at play. It's about recognizing the difference and making conscious choices.
But okay, let's be real. The natural stuff often involves effort, right? Learning a skill is hard. Getting up to exercise when you're tired takes willpower. The quick fixes are designed to be easy, frictionless. How do we actually shift the balance when the easy option is always just a click away?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And the source material actually offered some really practical ideas around managing that friction.
Okay, good. Like what?
It boils down to two things: making the natural stuff easier to do and making the quick fixes harder to do. Reducing friction for the good habits, increasing friction for the less helpful ones.
Give me an example. How do you reduce friction for, say, getting more sunlight?
Okay, well, you could use something like habit stacking. Link it to something you already do automatically. Like right after you brush your teeth in the morning, which is automatic, immediately step outside for 5 minutes. Make it the very next step.
Ah, so you piggyback the new habit onto an existing one. Makes it easier to remember, less willpower needed.
Exactly. Make the good choice the path of least resistance. Put your running shoes right by the door. Keep your journal open on your desk.
I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so how do you increase friction for the quick fixes, like doom scrolling?
Well, you could delete the news or social media apps from your phone's home screen. Just having to search for them adds a tiny barrier.
Okay, a small hurdle.
Or you could physically put your phone in another room or in a drawer for certain periods, like the first hour you're awake or after 9 p.m. Make it inconvenient to grab it mindlessly.
What about the craving itself? Sometimes it feels really strong.
There's a technique called the 10-minute rule. When you feel the urge for a quick fix, scrolling, snacking, whatever, tell yourself you have to wait just 10 minutes. Set a timer. Often, by the time the 10 minutes are up, the intensity of the craving has actually passed or lessened significantly.
Just delaying it can break the spell sometimes.
It really can. It gives your prefrontal cortex, the thinking part of your brain, a chance to catch up with the impulsive part.
So it really comes down to conscious choice, doesn't it? Understanding the difference and then actively designing your environment and your routines to favor the natural path more often.
That's the goal. Creating a healthy balance. Not eliminating fun, but consciously weaving in more of these natural foundational activities. That's how you get off the dopamine roller coaster.
And start cultivating something more stable, more lasting, real well-being, not just fleeting pleasure.
It's about knowing that every time you choose, you're either choosing a reward that might cost you energy later or one that will actually give you sustained energy and focus. You're building that internal reserve.
So at the end of this deep dive, the choice seems pretty clear. Even if making it isn't always easy, it's the fleeting, maybe anxious high of the quick fix.
Versus the solid, earned foundation of sustained satisfaction and capability that comes from intentional, natural effort.
Okay, so to leave our listeners with something to think about.
Yeah, here's a thought connecting all this back. If we accept that quick fix dopamine often serves to fill an immediate gap, to stop us from feeling bored or uncomfortable even for a moment,
Right.
then what essential, maybe difficult skill or learning project are you potentially putting off by constantly reaching for those easy, immediate rushes instead of investing in the deeper, long-term satisfaction that comes from mastery and genuine growth?